But once it get close to that time, you know what I mean, it's time to go to work, you know? And when we go to work, y'all know what comes after that.
Well, I see their weakness. That's what I do. You know, we broke the code with with Loma that nobody had ever done. You know, we didn't let him get comfortable in there. You saw that, you know, within like 8 rounds, he didn't know what to do. I did the same thing with Josh Taylor, and we're gonna do the same thing with Shakur.
This is the fight that I've been kind of waiting for my entire life. I didn't have to make this fight. This fight, I could have just stayed at 135 pounds, sat comfortable at 35. I don't feel like no fighter at 135 can beat me. I made this fight happen because I know Teo is one of the guys at 140.
So things got heated at that press conference when Terence Crawford completely lost his cool. He went straight at Teofimo Lopez Sr. with both barrels, dropping this bomb that Shakur's gonna do serious damage to his son when they step inside that ring.
Every last one of them stump a mud hole in their ass and he gonna be next. Watch.
Meanwhile, Teofimo Lopez Sr. is walking around like he's got all the answers. His crew thinks they've cracked the code on Shakur, swearing up and down they've spotted multiple holes in how he fights.
We want a competitive fight. We do this for the fans, you know. Ever since my son started this, you know, I told him, you know, this is entertainment.
But Crawford wasn't having any of that talk. He fired back hard, making it crystal clear that Shakur is a nightmare to deal with because of his world-class abilities, how smart he is in there, the way he stays ice cold under fire, and just takes over fights like it's nothing.
He's a work of art. The sky is the limit with Shakur. You know, he got the boxing skills and the ability to, you know, do whatever he wants in the ring. You know, and it's going to be very hard to beat Shakur, you know, with the skills that he possesses and the smarts that he has, you know, and given the opportunity, I think he can pose a great threat to everybody in the division, you know, and be the last man standing given the opportunity.
Lopez Sr. doubled down, though, promising they won't give Shakur any breathing room whatsoever. He's predicting the same outcome as what happened to Lomachenko and everyone else his son has demolished before the big night.
It's going to be a great fight. I want everybody to come and see it. If you can't, you know, just watch it on TV.
You've had to come up with some good game plans over the years to beat some great fighters, Lomachenko, Taylor, among them. How difficult is this man, Shakur Stevenson, to prepare for?
Well, I see their weakness. That's what I do. You know, we broke the code with with Loma that nobody had ever done. You know, we didn't let him get comfortable in there. You saw that, you know, within like 8 rounds, he didn't know what to do. I did the same thing with Josh Taylor, and we're gonna do the same thing with Shakur.
The tension exploded when Shakur himself jumped into the mix at that press conference. He got right in Teofimo Sr.'s face and told him straight up he had zero business speaking for his son.
Come on, man. You out of your mind.
Okay.
My son fought without no air. My son fought without no air against Cambosis.
You can't fight for your son. You can't fight for your son.
You gonna tell me, man? Come on.
You can't fight for your son.
I bet you gonna quit.
Yeah, okay, you gonna.
Here's what people don't see behind the scenes. Crawford and Shakur are grinding together constantly, working on technique, building game plans, and putting in that intense work side by side for this massive showdown.
How was this ever? There you go. 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 God. There you go, bro. He trying to run me into the wall. Y'all didn't see that? He trying to... Man, I perform. You know that? I told y'all what I was going to do. I was going to come out here and beat his ass every game. And look, he's thinking about saying, let's play again.
Shakur's locked in completely on that championship goal. Every single day, he's executing his strategy, polishing every little detail, staying locked in, mentally, so he can unleash his absolute peak performance when it counts.
I just went up to 140. I said, let me get the Ring Magazine champion. Let's fight that guy. Let's fight the guy that's the guy. And all that more pressure stuff don't mean nothing. As long as I'm like locked in and I'm focused on what I'm supposed to be doing, nothing else matters around me. That 4-weight world champion, it means everything to me. That's me separating myself. A lot of these guys that they claim is the guys nowadays, none of them can say that they are a 4-weight world champion. Honestly, for a minute before Devin went and did it, none of them could say they was really 3-weight world champion. So now for me to go to the 4th and the next level is a different type of thing. And a lot of people got to respect me, because at the end of the day, if they don't respect me, they don't got no choice but to.
Now, here's where things get really interesting from a technical standpoint. Henry broke down something crucial from that Teofimo Lopez versus George Kambosos fight that exposed a major flaw. Lopez drops that lead hand low, which works great for jabbing and keeping guys at distance, but when he starts pressing forward aggressively, it becomes a massive problem. Kambosos saw it immediately and just waited for Lopez to charge in, so he could nail him with perfectly timed counters.
Now, Teofimo Lopez has a bit of an issue. It's something that it's not always an issue, but it's something that certain fighters can turn into a weakness for him, and it's something that is a weakness for him when he fights the way he did in this fight. And that is the low lead hand that he has. It's great when you are trying to set things up. It can be really good when you're jabbing because it's out of your opponent's eye line very often. They can't see it coming. But when you're being this aggressive, it simply does not work, in my opinion. And there were multiple times in this fight where George Kambosos just let Teo come to him and caught him with powerful, aggressive counter punches. I'd say that Kambosos found his range and his timing very, very quickly in this fight. And I'm just going to show you a couple of moments here in round 1 that really stood out to me where Teofimo Lopez was being exceptionally aggressive. So you can see with this lead hook here that George Kambosos lands as a counter punch. It's a very, very key shot for anyone who is facing Teofimo Lopez. And I'm just going to break it down for you now. So the thing about Teofimo Lopez is, because he can be very lunging.
The first round told the whole story. Kambosos landed this beautiful lead hook on the counter that showed exactly how dangerous Lopez's rushing style can be. What Lopez does is step forward first to set his front foot, then slides in with this pendulum movement that leaves him wide and hands down. His chin stays tucked, but his balance gets completely compromised and he's wide open. Kambosos read it perfectly, cracked him with a checking left hook, got out of there clean, then later dropped this massive overhand right that rocked Lopez and had his corner freaking out.
You would never expect someone to really attack you from that range in boxing, but he does. And the thing about the way he does this is there's usually a bit of a tell. So watch here. What he does is he takes a step first to load that front foot, which then permits the pendulum step. It allows him to shuffle in, and I'll show you what I mean by that as you're watching here. Let me just undo that. 2 small arrows is what I'm looking for. So watch here. Leans on that front foot, and then he goes with the pendulum, back foot in, lead foot forward, and he lands in this position here. Now you can see the problem with this position here is that his balance is going to be hard to get because his feet are so wide, and his hands are low. So whilst his chin is tucked in, that's good. His hands are low. And as he throws, Kambosos has that lead hand ready and waiting. Watch what happens here. He quickly leans back, he fires that check left hook, and he gets out. Beautiful work. Now, the other moment that we need to see from this one is probably the most dramatic moment of his career, where he landed an absolutely huge counter overhand right. And it definitely shocked Teofimo Lopez. It was what caused all the panic in the corner. I don't think he thought he could get her.
Regis Prograis sees this matchup as Shakur having every advantage both mentally and technically over Teofimo. Sure, Lopez has incredible natural ability, but raw talent only gets you so far when you're fighting elite competition. Lopez's biggest issue is inconsistency. He'll look absolutely brilliant one moment, then completely lose focus the next. Shakur is the complete opposite. Every fight he walks in there with his plan mapped out, stays patient, keeps his discipline, and becomes impossible to figure out. What really separates Shakur is how his mind works. Pressure doesn't faze him at all. He reads what opponents are doing and adjusts instantly. Never takes stupid chances. Lopez gets frustrated easily and starts forcing things, which opens him up for counters and costly errors. When you combine Shakur's tactical intelligence with his composure and pure technical ability, Prograis thinks that's just too much for Lopez to overcome. Lopez has the physical gifts, but Shakur's fight IQ and mental toughness could end up being the deciding factors.
Stevenson, that definitely makes sense. Who do you think's gonna win that fight?
I got Shakur for sure. Shakur.
Do you think he wins this comfortably, or do you think it'll be a close fight?
I think he wins it comfortably. Yeah, I think he wins it comfortably. I think, Shakur. I think the thing is about Teo is very good athletically, but he's weak-minded. You can see in some fights he struggles. Teo does struggle. Now he does come up for big fights. Lomachenko, he came up. Josh Taylor, he came up. But a lot of fights, man, he struggles in. He does struggle on a whole lot of fights and stuff. Like, I think he looked good. Yeah, he looked good against Barboza. But like I said, for the most part, Teo does struggle. And I think he struggles mentally with a lot of things. But I think with Shakur, I think Shakur's going to break him. I think maybe the first two or three rounds, it might be a close fight. It might be close. It might be 2-1 or something like that. But then
Michael Conlon is calling this Lopez versus Stevenson fight one of the most compelling matchups you could possibly make right now. Just looking at it on paper, you've got two incredibly gifted fighters bringing completely different weapons to the table. Both have shown they belong at the highest level with razor-sharp technique and the ability to deliver when everything's on the line, which makes this absolutely fascinating for everyone watching. Conlon loves how Stevenson brings that chess master approach and can adapt to anything, while Lopez brings that explosive power and freakish athleticism. It's such a perfect clash of styles. He's convinced this could turn into an ultra-competitive war that pushes both guys to their absolute limits in terms of skill, heart, and game planning. For boxing fans everywhere, this is appointment television.
after that, I feel like, Shakur is probably going to start stepping up and Teo's going to try to hit him and it's not going to work. And then Shakur might start. The thing about Shakur is a very good, a real good counterpuncher, really sharp. Real sharp with the counterpunch. He sneaks those punches in, and that's the ones that hurt the most when he just sneaking them in when you're not supposed to hit him. So I definitely feel like, I feel like Shakur is gonna beat him comfortably. Not knockout, but comfortable 12 rounds for sure.
Have you sparred Lopez before?
I never sparred Teo though. Never sparred Teo.
Teofimo Lopez talks about how he's been approaching training lately, keeping things loose and enjoying the process instead of grinding himself into the ground. He's staying sharp while keeping his mind right and not overdoing it in the gym.
I don't know, man. I feel.
You've been playing these little mind games. I love it. And the little interviews.
I'm just having fun, man. I'm just being fun.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The boxing world needs that too. The promotion, they just put out the Versace interview, right? And we wanted to see that early, right when you guys did it.
Yeah. I mean, they're doing real good though. They're promoting it well right now.
You like how they're promoting it? You think it's like they were talking about this like the leaders of the new school? That's how you feel?
I mean, it's got to be. Ain't nobody else doing it like we doing it.
Antonio Tarver brings that veteran perspective to this Lopez versus Stevenson situation. And he's looking way deeper than just recent results or what the numbers show. He thinks writing off Lopez based on his last couple performances would be a huge mistake because there's so much more to what he brings than any stat sheet can tell you. Tarver knows Lopez has that natural explosiveness, serious power, and ring awareness that can spell trouble for anybody when everything clicks.
Yeah, I mean, smart money would be on the boxer, Shakur Stevenson, winning the decision. But, if Lopez can make this fight, a lot tougher than expected, and he's going to have to exchange with Shakur. He's a fast fighter. We don't know who's the quickest or fastest here. You have to give the speed edge to Shakur. But if Lopez can punch with this fast guy, make him a little bit cautious and a little bit leery of what's coming back, that serves him well. But Teofimo is one of the best conditioned fighters out there. If this fight goes late, you can expect him to be pushing forward round 9, 10, and 11 if it goes late.
Yeah, a big question is always like what Teo is going to show up. And like when everyone's counted out Teo, it's actually been the times where he's like upset people, like against Lomachenko or against Josh Taylor.
But he's not sleeping on Stevenson's technical mastery either, how he controls distance and dictates the rhythm of fights. What gets Tarver excited about this matchup is that it goes beyond wins and losses on paper. This comes down to who makes the better adjustments, who executes their strategy cleaner, and who handles the mental warfare better. He sees this as the ultimate test of pure skill, mental strength, and boxing IQ, where victory goes to whoever forces their will more effectively.
Fights to the level of his competition. And I've been thinking like, hey, if we get the best version of Teo, like the Teo that showed up for those fights, does that Teo beat the best Shakur?
It would have to. I mean, I think that's the only chance he got, is to really be his ultra self, doing all the things that makes him Teofimo Lopez. The footwork could be a major advantage for him. Being able to get inside. A lot of times he fights free. He don't really have a style. He does what it takes. And he's a gutsy fighter. Real gutsy. He's not going to be leery to take chances. He's a gambler in there. You know what I'm saying? So he's a live underdog, I would say. A live underdog. But if he's to win this fight, I think he has to probably stop Shakur Stevenson. He's going to have to hit him with something. And let's hope Shakur's hands hold up.
Gary Russell gives us that inside look at what Shakur's camp looks like while preparing for Lopez, and the level of detail and intensity is off the charts. Every single training session has a specific purpose, whether it's technical work, conditioning, or strategic sparring designed to simulate real fight situations. Russell makes it clear, this isn't just about getting physically ready. They're building that mental armor, working on adaptability, and making sure he can stay locked in when the lights are brightest.
Okay, that's when one person stay in the middle and they just spot everybody that one person stay in while they keep. That's what that was. That's what I was doing. It wasn't just Shakur there. It was Shakur there. Richard Hitcherson's was there. He didn't want to spar. Who else was there? I want to say what? Keyshawn brother was there. Keyshawn Davis' brother was there, but he was just there as a spectator. I was about to spar with Troy Isley. Right. Did some rounds with Troy.
You sparred all of them.
Not Keyshawn brother. That was another day. But they was all there. All of them was there. That whole little camp. And there was another gym that was there too. So it was like two gyms that came to give us some work.
Shakur treats every day like game day, executing each drill with precision while keeping that bigger picture in mind. The sparring sessions are like dress rehearsals, throwing different looks at him so he's prepared for whatever Lopez might bring and can make adjustments in real time. Russell sees how the camp's intensity drives Shakur to keep getting better while maintaining that calm control that's become his trademark. Bottom line, he's painting the picture of a fighter who's completely dialed in, focused, and ready for whatever challenge Lopez presents.
I did my rounds, boom. Did 6, hopped out, did 6 more. No, did 7 more straight. 6, hopped out, did 7 straight, boom. And the rounds that y'all seen with Shakur was the ass in my last round.
Oh, back end. The back end.
Yeah, that was the last round. That was the last round. I'm like, all right. And they was doing like 3, hop out, or 2 and hop out, 2 and hop. So they was fresh. Who was fresh? And it was before the Olympics. Motherfuckers is getting that grown man strength and that beefy body now. Like, come on, bro. But like I said before, still stands. Skills pays the bills. So you can be strong and big. If I'm gonna outskill you, then I'm gonna outskill you.
Yeah, we just saw that with Canelo and Terence, man.
Exactly.
Put on a crazy work, man.
When Shakur talks about this upcoming fight, what strikes you immediately is how composed and confident he sounds. He's approaching this whole situation with laser focus and mental clarity, never showing any signs of being shaken by criticism or outside noise. Instead of getting emotional about doubters or getting caught up in hype, Stevenson treats this as another step forward in his development as a fighter. His whole approach centers around preparation, strategic thinking, and staying disciplined, showing a level of maturity that's rare for someone his age. Everything he says demonstrates his deep understanding of boxing and his own capabilities, mixing patience with calculated ambition perfectly. Stevenson isn't fighting to silence critics or prove points to anyone. He's building his legacy and perfecting his craft one fight at a time. The way he carries himself shows he's mentally built to handle whatever pressure comes his way, make adjustments when needed, and execute his plan flawlessly, no matter who's across the ring.
It's cool. I mean, that's their opinion. Like, they could say that. But I know he never fought nobody on my level. Like, I'm 1,000,000% sure that Tio has never seen nobody as good as me in his life.
He's talking about, like, once he gets through you, then he wants Crawford, names like that. How do you think he would do against someone like Terence at this point?
I think he gets knocked out.
Can't even hang with him.
Yeah, he's too little. Bud is too big for him.
Right. As far as skills, though, do you think he's on par with the likes of Terence?
I'm not gonna say he's on a Terence Crawford level of skills, but he's very skillful. He got a lot of things with him that puts him at a high level.
One thing that was interesting to me was it seemed like you were going to move on from Matchroom, but now Eddie Hearn is involved in this, and this is a Matchroom event, it seems. What is the state of your relationship with Eddie and Matchroom at this point?
Eddie's my guy. I'm actually not signed to Matchroom, but he's my guy. I'm a big fan of Eddie Hearn, and nothing but respect to him. But I'm glad he's the promoter that's on this card. I'm glad to share the spotlight with his promotional company.
So if he's your guy, how come you're not signed to Matchroom?
I mean, it's just business. If it makes sense, then I will. If it come down to it and that's what makes sense, then we'll do it. But right now, I don't think it makes sense.
Okay, so are you just more of like your own man at this point? Your own entity?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Do you negotiate with the ring people, with Turkey? You just do that yourself?
No, me and my manager, Jay Prince, yep.
Okay. And does that work for you? Do you feel like this could be something that could just work for you for the time being?
That wraps up everything for now. Catch you all in the next one.